getting worse, ladies and gentlemen. It's getting worse. I hate to be the harbinger of bad news. Let's just say, I am. I'm not looking for bad news. It stares me right in front of my face every single day. It is right there in front of us. Welcome aboard. By the way, I'm Dr. Peter Glidden, your host for the next 2 hours. This is a live presentation of Fire Your MD Now. Today's date is May 21st, 2013. Tuesday, May 21st, 2013. Medscape, breaking news. The prevalence of diabetes among U.S. adults grew by 45% over the past 20 years, with the greatest increase seen among seniors aged 65 and older, according to a new study based on surveillance data from the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention. That's the CDC, folks, the Center for Disease Control. We provide, then they go on to say, quote, "We provide solid evidence that there is a severe epidemic of diabetes by using National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey data, the only U.S. national representative survey data capable of calculating total diabetes, including self-reported diagnosed diabetes, undiagnosed diabetes, that was defined by two common diagnostic tests, fasting plasma glucose and hemoglobin A1C, otherwise known as glycolated hemoglobin. Finding this increase in diabetes was not especially surprising. The doctor that was in charge of this, his name is Cheng, Dr. Cheng said, but the magnitude of the increase was significant and worrisome. The magnitude of the increase was significant and worrisome. These results underscore the urgent need for planning and delivering primary prevention to the U.S. population and providing quality health care for this growing segment of the aging population. But they miss the point entirely. They don't know how to prevent it. If they knew how to prevent it, they'd be preventing it right now, but they're not. They think that it's because of obesity. They think it's people get type 2 diabetes because they're overweight, and it's incorrect. Obesity and diabetes are both caused by the same thing. It's not diabetes is caused by overweight. That's ridiculous. They're both caused by the same thing, which is chronic nutrient deficiencies that the MDs are completely blind to, that the pharmaceutical industry probably knows about, but they don't want you to know about it because the last thing on their mind is to cure anything, for goodness sake. But the beat goes on here. Let me read you some more of this. Obesity, as measured by the BMI in waist-to-hip ratio, was strongly associated with the increase in diabetes prevalence, especially in younger and middle-aged adults. We think that obesity is a primary factor contributing to the prevalence of diabetes, Dr. Cheng said, right? This is what they think. They think that type 2 diabetes is caused by obesity, and they're wrong. Obesity and type 2 diabetes are caused by the same things. They get this wrong all of the time. One more interesting statistic here I want to point out here. This is really significant. Based on the total population of the United States, the researchers estimated that diabetes prevalence grew from 15 million cases to 26.1 million cases 20 years later, an increase of 75%. So, while we've let the MDs drive the bus of medicine, diabetes has been statistically proven to have increased by 75% in the last 20 years. And whose fault is this? Oh, it's got to be your fault. Yeah, it's your fault. You have the diabetes gene. You have the obesity gene. You're just a fat piece of crap. That's what you are. You need to exercise. You're just lazy. You need to get a job. That's what you need to do. You need to get a job and get a second job, get a third job. You need to, eat less and exercise more. You need to get on the treadmill. Even though the national a study done by the United Nations released 3 years ago proved without equivocation that there is no relationship between exercise and obesity. It does not exist. But let's not pay attention to research that goes against what we think. The MDs and the media nitpicks It's easy for you to say. Nitpicks research all of the time, discarding the stuff that goes against their belief system and latching on to the stuff that supports their belief system. And, you know, it's like the fella said, there's lies, there's damn lies, and there's statistics. If you're smart enough, you can generate a research project that's going to support your point of view, whatever point of view there is. I mean, go online right now. There still exists a flat earth society. There are people armed with facts and figures that are trying to convince you that the earth is flat. For goodness sake. Lies, damn lies, and statistics. You can tweak data any way that you want. Now, you know, it's also possible to do an objective, honest study. Because science is science, and if you do it correctly, it's your best friend. But it's easy to corrupt it. My point here is that while we have let the MDs drive the bus of medicine, obesity rates are skyrocketing, type 2 diabetes rates are skyrocketing, the MDs are clueless as to what to do about this. You know what they're going to want to start doing? Cutting out people's stomachs preventively, the way they're cutting off Angelina Jolie's breasts preventively. It's a giant you-know-what. Cluster you-know-what. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what it is, ladies and gentlemen. It is the blind leading the blind all around the merry-go-round of mediocre Machiavellian medical madness. Brought to you by your allopathic pharmaceutical centrist MD, who is cowardly at the core because they do not think outside of the established norm. And rather than reviewing their own therapeutics, rather than looking at their own failings, rather than, taking it on the chin, picking themselves up, dusting themselves off, and moving forward the way that the scientific method is supposed to move you forward, they blame you. Type 2 diabetes, it's your fault. And they have no explanation as why there's been a catastrophic rise in this. Oh, you know, Americans, they just don't exercise enough, even though the United Nations proved there's no relationship between exercise and obesity or type 2 diabetes. It doesn't exist. Oh, by the way, we know what causes both. Now, have we done $60 million of double-blinded research to be able to prove unequivocally that, it's nutrient deficiencies that cause obesity and it's nutrient deficiencies that cause type 2 diabetes? No, because number one, we don't have that type of money. Number two, if we did those experiments, when we proved that a handful of mineral supplements cured type 2 diabetes, the Food and Drug Administration would categorize those essential nutrients as drugs. You wouldn't be able to get them over the counter at the health food store. You wouldn't be able to dig them up out of the ground. They would be the exclusive domain of the drug companies. The drug companies would manufacture them and sell them to you at 1,000 times the cost. That's why we don't do it. And oh, by the way, let's not be hypocritical, shall we? There's something called off-label prescribing that MDs do all of the time. It's called the practice of medicine. Once you have jumped through the hoops and become a doctor, a licensed physician, which we are, by the way. Once you have done all of the education and passed all of the tests and done all of the continuing education to prove to society that you know what the heck you're doing in the field of medicine, then they grant you a lot of leeway. It's called the practice of medicine. So we don't have to do $60 million trillion of double-blinded, placebo-controlled research to prove this, that, or the other thing. We lean on common sense and clinical experience. It happens all of the time in a wonderful MD land. Medical doctors prescribe sleep medications for anti-anxiety, even though it's never been proved that one affects the other. They prescribe blood pressure medication to help you go to sleep, even though it's never been clinically proven that the blood pressure medication does that. But it's the doctor's clinical experience. You know what? That it does. It's called the practice of medicine, and we have a lion's share of experience under our belts, thanks to Dr. Wallach's research, number one, and his clinical experience, number two. And when you combine that with my clinical experience and with the clinical experience of every other naturopathic physician, every other chiropractic physician, every other acupuncturist, herbalist in the world, you start to get a clue. For goodness sake, oh, by the way, in 1957, a medical doctor named Merz, M-E-R-Z, proved that in mice, you could turn type 2 diabetes on or off by manipulating levels of a mineral called chromium. That if your body doesn't have enough chromium, boom, you get type 2 diabetes. If you have enough chromium, boom, it goes away. You can flip it on and off like a switch. But let's disregard that. You know why? Because as the medical profession looks at the accelerating levels of type 2 diabetes in the world, in the United States, in Canada, in industrialized nations, you know what they're doing? Rubbing their hands together in glee because they know how much money they're going to make. One patient treated for 40 years with type 2 diabetes profits the medical industry between $300,000 and $400,000, between $300,000 and $400,000 over 40 years, with all of the testing and all of the medication and all of the doctor's visits and all of the follow-up and everything that needs to be done. They make a boatload. So why on earth do they want to cure it when managing it makes them rich? If you start looking at medical doctors like businessmen instead of caring physicians, you start to understand their motivation. My protege, David Sullivan, who's at the Loyola University in Chicago doing the pre-med program now, talked to me about this. We had a long conversation the other day. Got to thank David Sullivan for this. Give him props. When you look at medical doctors as businessmen, everything starts to make sense. When you look at them as humanitarians, the whole thing goes to crap, because they're not. We think that they're like Marcus Welby and Hawkeye, but they're not. They are to be avoided. Call me instead, 866-582-9933. Taking your calls when we come back. Stick around and happy Tuesday. Welcome back, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here with you on Tuesday, May 21st, with another live episode of Fire Your MD Now. And Octoliba, I think it's time to go to Germany and talk to Gottfried. For goodness sake, all the way from Germany. Gottfried, thanks so much for the call. You are live.
Thank you very much, Dr. Glidden. I've been listening to your MP3. I'm very, very happy to listen to you anytime you give a speech.
Well, thank you, Gottfried. That's very, very kind of you. I believe there's somebody in your neck of the woods who has an online radio show called Red Ice Radio, I think. Have you ever heard of that, Red Ice Radio?
No.
Okay, well, check it out on the web. We're trying to get with him so that we can spread our message more. So check that out and give that studio a call and let them know all about Dr. Glidden, and maybe we can get online with them, and then we can reach more people in the European Union, because, you know, everybody needs to hear this. I appreciate the kind word, Godfrey. How can I help?
I'm a diabetic patient, and out of that, I take 4 insulin, 3 in the day and 1 for the night. I'm type 2 diabetic.
For how many years, type 2?
Since 1997.
Okay. And have you developed any other, problems because of the diabetes?
I'm totally blind at the moment. Out of a couple of laser surgeries I got from these MDs. The last one was on 2010, and I totally gone blank. I can't see anything at the moment. I have this retinopathy, and I have, what's the name, glaucoma.
Yeah, glaucoma, yeah.
I have peripheral neuropathy.
Yeah.
I can't balance myself. That means I can't do anything steadily anymore.
And how old are you, Gottfried?
I'm 61.
61. By the way, your English is impeccable. Really, really good. All right. Well, you're up against it now. Do you have someone who you live with that can help you get these products, and who can help you, assist you in this regard, given the fact that you're legally blind?
I'm getting the products. I'm getting the product from U.S. I got a U.S. address in Florida that I order from Longevity, and they directed. But the customs give me a lot of jig, but I'm also fighting them. So I'm very tough, and I'll fight them.
Yeah.
And I'm getting things done, and I'll put them to court so that they have to differentiate what is minerals and what is medicine.
Yeah, very good. And, you know, that's a good fight to fight. We fought that fight in Canada. We're fighting that fight in a limited way in Philippines and Mexico now. So we are starting to gain traction around the world because everybody needs to know this. Human suffering knows no border, knows no race, knows no creed, knows no color. And especially with stuff, Gottfried, that, you know, is from a relativistic point of view, not that difficult to take care of. All of the conditions that you have are bendable under applied medical nutrition. So let me hope to dial in an appropriate program to support and promote the structure and function of your body. What's your current body weight in pounds?
84 kilo, which is 168.
Okay. All right. So here's what I would recommend that you do every month for the next 6 months. All right. 1 healthy blood sugar pack. 1 healthy blood sugar pack, 1 bottle of Sweet Ease. That's 1 healthy blood sugar pack, 1 bottle of Sweet Ease, 4 bottles of Ultimate Selenium, 4 bottles of Ultimate Selenium, and 1 bottle of Ultimate Daily Capsules. 1 bottle of Ultimate Daily Capsules, 4 bottles of Ultimate Selenium, 1 bottle of Sweet Ease, and 1 healthy blood sugar pack per month. Plus, of course, Gottfried, you, me, and everybody else in the world needs to stop eating the 10 bad foods. And because of the blood sugar issue that you're dealing with, it would be prudent for you, until your blood sugars normalize, to completely stop eating anything that's sweet, unless it's, you know, glycemic friendly. So stevia is okay, xylitol is okay, sucralose, imagine that, is okay, but honey, maple syrup, sugar, molasses, all of these things got to go, as well as fruit and fruit juice for 90 days. Check that program out, Gottfried. Call me back every 2 weeks for the report, and we'll see what we see. Stick around, folks. Best is yet to come. 866-582-9933. That's the number to call to speak with me live. 866-582-9933. 866-582-9933. Octoliva, baby. We're talking to Germany with Gottfried. Gottfried, are you still on the line?
That's right. I'm saying something that I have heavy constipation.
Yeah, okay. So the first thing to think about whenever there's chronic constipation and or chronic diarrhea is consistent consumption over, 61 years of your life of all of the wrong food. Now, the biggest culprits from our point of view, which generate a net negative response to the human digestive tract, are wheat, barley, rye, and oats. So Gottfried, you, me, everybody in the world would benefit from being gluten-free 100%. Now, I got to tell you something, man. Here in the United States, over the last 3 years, it's become easier and easier and easier to get gluten-free stuff. I mean, they've got it everywhere now. I mean, they've got gluten-free stuff everywhere now, where before you had to, drive 20 miles an hour just to see it printed somewhere, for goodness sake. What's it like in Germany? Is gluten-free a thing there yet, or not so much?
People have sold Kuchen bread, and also bread is the major food in Germany, but I don't eat it. I stopped eating gluten, also wheat, barley, oats for 1-2 years now. I stopped eating it.
All right, and you're still being bothered by constipation, is that correct?
That's right.
Okay, so the next thing to think about is hydration. How much water are you drinking on the course of a day? How much water do you drink?
I drink 1.5 liters.
Okay, and do you drink coffee or tea in addition to that?
No, I don't drink coffee. I drink chamomile tea.
Okay. Now, have you ever had coffee? I mean, you must have had a cup of coffee in your life. Is there a reason? Is there a reason that you avoid that?
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah. So
what happened is the reason I avoid that is too bitter sometimes, so I have to put a lot of milk in it.
Yeah, I understand. I'm the same way. So a little bit of coffee in the morning, even just a simple shot of espresso, right? Just one shot of espresso has a laxative action, and it has a lot of benefit. Actually, coffee has been proven to have benefit with type 2 diabetes. Imagine that, right?
Ooh.
So adding coffee back into your life would be beneficial. I recommend you do it first thing in the morning, and usually within 30 minutes of finishing the cup of coffee, you're visiting the bathroom and you have a nice bowel movement. That would be what I would do in order to kind of get the ball rolling here. Have you ever done anything with colonic hydrotherapy or enemas? Have you ever done any type of directed large intestinal cleansing detoxification programs?
No.
Okay, well, just have coffee and an apple a day. Will an apple a day upset your blood sugar?
I haven't tried it yet.
Okay, do you eat any fruit right now, or are you staying away from fruit completely, or do you have
away from fruit?
Yeah, completely. So what do you eat? Give me an example of what you'd eat for breakfast or lunch or dinner.
Because I heard in the lectures of Dr. Warlock and you, I eat 5 eggs.
Very good.
Scrambled egg with butter.
Yep.
And then at lunch, I take some rice or beans or anything. And then in the evening, I have 3 eggs and finish.
Okay, very good. All right, so I'd like to see you get some type of pectin into your body. Just eating a whole apple a day is usually good enough to do that. You need to be careful with the diabetes thing. So I would add an apple with the evening meal. At the end of the evening meal, eat an apple, and then do a shot of espresso or, a half a cup of coffee in the morning in order to see if we can't get the bowels moving. That would be a good intervention, I believe. And also understand that the diabetic retinopathy that you're experiencing and the glaucoma have everything to do with oxidative damage to, in this case, your eye and the anatomical structures around the eye over time. So another thing that you could be focused on moving forward, if the budget allows, is consuming food or nutritional supplements which are high in antioxidant ORAC points. This would be a very smart thing for you to dial in. Now, the selenium supplementation that I recommend you take will go a long, long way towards augmenting your body's own natural antioxidant, the glutathione. But in addition to that, if you start using curry powder or cinnamon or walnuts or green tea, then, and similar foods that are high in antioxidants, that will also help you a lot, Godfrey. So you don't just have to be harnessed to eggs and butter and rice and beans for the rest of your life, okay? Experiment with curry, experiment with walnuts, do a little Google search for foods that are high in ORAC antioxidants. That's ORAC. Now, your goal in a perfect world would be 50,000 ORAC points of antioxidants a day. 50,000 ORAC points of antioxidants a day. With 2 scoops of the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, you're getting approximately 6,000 ORAC points. So you need to dial in about 45,000 ORAC points. You can easily do that with green tea, with curry powder, with walnuts, but you need to start to kind of incorporate foods that are high in ORAC into your diet moving forward. That will go a long way towards supporting and promoting the ability of your eyes, especially to recover their health. And who knows, I mean, there's an audio CD that Dr. Wallach recorded. I don't know if you've ever heard it. It's called Seeing is Believing. It actually wasn't Wallach's recording. It was an optometrist's recording. It was an MD who showed up at a lecture that Dr. Wallach gave, 15 years ago, and called him a liar in front of 500 people. And he said, Wallach, I'm an eye specialist, and you can't reverse macular degeneration. You can't reverse, retinitis pigmentosa. You can't reverse this stuff. You can't reverse glaucoma. Wallach said, we do it all the time. And so they made a bet in front of 500 people. This medical doctor gave Dr. Wallach, I think, 10 of his patients who were legally blind with all manner of different things, and they went on board with Wallach's nutritional program, and every single one of them recovered their vision, every single one of them. And that doctor was so humbled by that experience that he recorded an audio CD for Dr. Wallach. It's called Seeing is Believing. Now, I'm not in the business of issuing false hope here, but the fact of the matter is, Gottfried, that the only person that knows where your body's cutoff point is, where the point of no return is, as far as healing is concerned, the only person that knows that is God. Your doctor doesn't know it, you don't know it, I don't know it. So what we do every time is give the body its due. We give the body the stuff that it needs, support the body's ability to fix itself, get the heck out of the way by cleaning up our diet and see what happens. So dial in that program, Gottfried, and call me back in a couple of weeks for the report. Does that sound good?
Do I have to take the supplements before food or after food?
Well, if you're eating rice and beans, it would be prudent to take the supplements after the rice and beans meal, but you can take it with the egg meal, with breakfast, and with the egg meal in dinner. But when you're eating rice and beans, the rice and the beans contain a nutrient called a phytate, Phytate, and phytates absorb minerals. They absorb minerals, right? So you don't want to be taking a mineral supplement with a food that's high in phytates, because you'll be working against yourself. And really, the only reason to take the supplement with food is if your stomach just can't handle it. Some people have a sensitive stomach and they feel a little funky if they take supplements on an empty stomach. So if that happens, if you take the supplements on an empty stomach and you get a little bit of an upset stomach, then just have a handful of mixed salted nuts, to help kind of settle your stomach down. It should be easy to do. So dial that in, Gottfried. Thanks so much for the call. I will look forward to talking to you in a couple of weeks. Now, keep up the good work. We need a representative in Germany. I'm hoping you're going to have an awesome testimonial moving down the road. Thanks for the call, Gottfried. I appreciate your support. All right, where we're going to go next, we're going to go from Germany all the way to California, talking to Shirley about Sweeties and Smart FX. Hey, Shirley, thanks for the call. You are live.
Thank you very much. Talking about trying to get out of this depression, and you'd put me on a week or so ago, the 444 a day of the
Sweeties.
Should I stay with that much or drop the amount? You said to go. I shouldn't have any fruits before like July 4th.
Yeah. So I would stick with it. And you see, this is the thing. There's no way to know, because we recommend two basic interventions. There's the therapeutic intervention where we're taking a boatload of stuff because you need it. We're making up for lost time. And then once we crest a hill, we fall back to a maintenance program. And nobody knows. I don't have a crystal ball. For some people, we can start the maintenance program on week 5, and for some people, we can't start the maintenance program until week 52. So the only way that you're going to be able to answer that question, Shirley, is just to muck around with it. But given your history and given your experience of the products lately, I wouldn't touch the Sweeties dose until August. I mean, I would just keep taking 12 a day of the Sweeties all the way through July before you started modifying the dose. If it's in the budget, keep taking it all the way through July. If it's not in the budget, then you have to grow your longevity business to support it. In most people that take the longevity business by the horns, because it's an easy business to do. I mean, it's not hard. And if it's hard, you're not doing it the right way. It's an easy business to do. Most people that are applying our simple solution the way that we teach them to do it, by the 8th week of their business, they're able to get $300 worth of nutritional supplements a month for free. So there's not really any excuse not to take the supplements, especially with the business opportunity that longevity presents. And by the way, folks, coming up in the second hour, Mike Randolph and I are going to be talking about the business opportunity and discussing whether or not entrepreneurialism in the United States is dead. That's coming up in the second hour. So, Shirley, I wouldn't mess around with it until August and, maintain the discipline with the diet. Does that sound like a plan?
Right, unless would Smart FX help the head, or you said it's the brain, it's physiological, so...
Well, Smart FX can certainly go a long way towards helping, but I believe that the root cause of your depression is a blood sugar issue. It's a blood sugar issue. And so it would be important for you, in order to get on the other side of all of the inertia that you've had in your life from the depression, to just maintain the discipline with the blood sugar. Maintain the discipline with the blood sugar in order to support and promote the structure and function of your physiology relative to depression. So keep riding that horse, Shirley. You're going to love how you feel. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, stick around. 866-582-9933. That's the number to call. I am Dr. Peter Glidden. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden, your host. Today is May 21st, and you are listening to another live edition of Fire Your MD. Now, we're going to go to California. Oh, no, where are we going next? I don't know where we're going next. I think we're going to Texas now. Hey, Texas. Thank you so much for the call. You are live. Al, that's Al in Texas. Thanks, Al. Thanks for holding on. I figured it out.
Hey, Dr. Glidden, this is really a privilege to get to talk to you. You're very accessible and accommodating. I do appreciate it.
Well, we're all in this together, Al. I appreciate the support. How can I help?
Well, you touched on so many topics that I have delved into, but I'm planning on getting the second time in my life this September, an EDTA IV chelation, maybe a series of 30 of them.
Yeah.
And I think that's just wonderful stuff, since there's no contraindications that I know of. I'm fixing to be 65. I'm 64 now.
Well, I'm with you 100%, and you got to know who you're talking to here. I am going to toot my own horn. I was one of the first naturopathic physicians in the world to do intravenous chelation therapy. I did it for a long time. I did EDTA chelation. I did DMSA chelation. For goodness sake, I had a clinic in Massachusetts that was right next to the biggest chelation clinic in New England at that time, run by Michael Jansen, MD. So I know a lot about chelation therapy, not only from a kind of theoretical, scientific level, but also from an experiential level. And I've got to tell you, Al, that if you are doing everything correctly, if you are eating the right food, and if you are taking the proper nutritional supplements into your body every day, and if you're not eating the bad food, then you don't need intravenous chelation. Because the only reason that you need intravenous chelation is if your body's, your circulatory system is all gummed up. And what is it that gums up your circulatory system? Is it life? No. Is it cholesterol? No. It's consistent consumption of all the wrong foods. See, from our point of view, arteries get clogged because of eating food that's pro-inflammatory. it's better, to just clean up your diet, eliminate that crap, and take the supplements that your body needs in order to support and promote the structure and function of the circulatory system. And then you don't need the intravenous EDTA chelation treatments. And also, it's way better to get a series of chelation treatments than to have a triple bypass surgery, for goodness sake. But even better than the IV chelation is to support and promote the structure and function of the health of your circulatory system in the first place. So, you can do whatever you want to do, but understand that the chelation isn't fixing the problem. It's just managing the problem, and it's certainly a better way to manage it than what the MDs recommend, but that's what I have to say about that. Your thoughts?
Can I speak? Yes, well, life's complicated. I've had 2 DVTs, and I have leading factor 5 genetic mutation, 3 flags of it. I don't care for MDs myself. I much prefer NDs. They're hard to come by in Texas a little bit.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just worry about atherosclerosis. I got my first EDTA IV chelation back when I was 39, and it saved my left leg. It had clotted up so bad from a DVT, and the surgeon didn't even tell me what he's doing. He just gave me that chelation while I was in the hospital, and about 6 months later I had a heart CT because I was starting to turn into being a health nut, and they said, Mr. Layton, you have absolutely no plaque in your arteries. And I went, oh yeah, well, that's probably attributable to the IV chelation I had gotten in the hospital.
Well, so there you go. I mean, it's a good idea, but the fact of the matter is, it's kind of, from my point of view, it's like painting over the mold in the basement. Well, that's not really a good metaphor. But if you were leading a healthy lifestyle, I don't give a crap about the latent factor 5 thing. That's irrelevant. If you're eating following a healthy lifestyle, your arteries are not going to clog. They're just not going to. You should stick with us, buddy, because we have it dialed in. And if you follow our protocols and then have IV chelation, well, then you're going to be a champion in Texas. Coming up against the hard break, Al, I'd love to keep talking to you. Thanks so much for the call and for the support. Now go out there and get her done. Mike Randolph in the next hour, folks. Stick around.